have on their little ears. So now we can get to the fun part, and that is, well, more fun stuff, and that is going to be the hair. So for this specific technique, I'm going to be painting on the hair. I decided that I wanted to do like a red head for this doll and like a cute blonde for this one. So you want to get your paint to match the yarn that you're going to be using as best as possible. I don't have this light yellow color, so I'm going to have to mix it with some white. Make it the easiest possible. You're going to take your marker, invisible ink, pencil, you know, let's see some pencil. And we're going to mark where the middle is on the doll. And that should be right in between the middle seam here. Okay, so we're going to mark that middle part. And then we're going to determine what kind of hairstyle I want to give the doll. So in this case, the sketch that I did for the doll has a little middle part and has like a cute little top knot. So that's what we're going to do. This part is going to be painted and the top knot's going to be the yarn. Then I know that the hair is going to go right behind her little ears. So I'm going to make a mark here. And make a mark here, and as best as possible I'm going to connect this point to this point. I would start off maybe higher up, that way if you need to take it lower down you can. That just kind of gives a little bit of room for error, because it is tricky to be drawing a line like this on a surface that is round. I can kind of see this one comes down a little bit more, so I'm going to pull this one down a bit, and I'm not super worried because this is going to be covered by paint. Now we're going to have to do the back of the head, so we're going to flip her over and again find that little middle point. This is all going to be painted, so we don't have to worry about anybody seeing these marks. And I'm going to stop right about right below to where that little ears are, and I'm just going to take this line and drop it down, and that will be kind of like the nape. So that is going to be our guideline of where we're going to paint. Okay, time to paint. So now that we have our guide, all we're going to do is basically fill in the lines. I'm going to start off with a pretty hefty amount of paint. Again, this is basic acrylic. It is matte. I prefer matte instead of like the satin finishes for this kind of a thing. So the cloth does soak up a lot of the pigment of the paint, so I do like to have a little bit more instead of having to stop and then go back in and fill up my paint. I recommend using a flat brush like this. It's just a lot easier when it comes to following your lines and getting a nice clean edge. If you need to, I suggest practicing on maybe like a piece of scrap fabric. That might be a little bit more helpful. After all, you cannot take this off once it's on, so you don't want to mess it up. And you want to make sure you're covering all of that pencil mark. Being ever so careful to be aware of where your wet paint is. Just gonna follow along my little hairline. Now to do the hair, we're gonna use our fingers as a spool, and we're gonna try to keep them as wide as possible. I have small hands, so if you have small hands too, this is perfect. Okay, and we're just gonna wrap this around maybe like 10 times. Give this a little snip. And we're just gonna snip the two ends here as well. And this is where your needle threader is going to come in handy. You also want a needle with a little bit larger eye, because we are going to put these on individually. We're going to thread our needle, and we're going to come to the doll, start in the middle, right on the top, might be a little tricky because the painted cloth gets pretty tough. And then we're just gonna push that through. This is where it gets a little tricky. You might need a thimble to help push through, or some sort of hard object. Okay, so you're gonna pull this through. Oh man, this is gonna be hard. Okay, then you're just gonna take your two pieces and you're just gonna tie a knot, a double knot. Okay, and we're gonna do that on the whole head, covering our seam here. So keep going as close as you can to this one and as close as you can to this one, all the way down to the end of the seam here. Okay, now we're gonna separate it into 3 strands, and we are gonna make literally a top knot. So I'm just gonna take that and knot it here, and knot it again, that. Then we'll switch it over and do it on this side. Just gonna keep tying knots till you can't no more. Then I'm gonna take some individual strands like this. It's supposed to be a messy top knot. All right, and there's your little top knot. Now it's time to trim it. Now she has this little crazy cute literal top knot. There we go. We're gonna add on a little ribbon. Okay, so I got this really pretty like chenille type of sheer ribbon here. I'm actually gonna tie a knot first. Here we go. Pull out her hair so it doesn't get caught in there. Oh, okay. There we go. Got a cute little bow.